User. Chow. Chinak Lai 10 Cacti Lu Twata Training Ban. Kong Noi Ben Trong Ko Gi. Assistant. Chow Ban. Dui De La Dan Sach Cacti Lu Ban De Tai Lin. 1. 7 Motif, Tuta 2. Content, Mao Dang 5-3. Song Tu Koa Tuta 4. Content, Mao Dang 4-5. Content, Mao Dang 2-6. Content, Mao Dang 1-7. Content, Mao Dang 3-8. Tuta Doi Thursday 9. Hu Chuta 10. Van Fong Va Ky Thuat Viet 11. Content, Mao Dang 7-12. Content, Mao Dang 6-13. 7 Outline 13 Fan Dang 39 New Band, Can Ho Tro Them. See you Thoi My Yukane. User. De La Tuta Matwa Muon Lam Noi Dung Video YouTube. Hey Zaknan Lai Banda Nam Tuta Tuta Va Kong Duak Hoi Lai Twa. Tuta La. The Hells Angels biker found the little girl trapped against a fallen log, and his fury turned the flood into his weapon assistant. Twata Nam Tuta Kwa Ban. The Hells Angels biker found the little girl trapped against a fallen log, and his fury turned the flood into his weapon. Twasi Kong Hoi Lai Ban Ve Tuta Nai. New Ban Can Ho Tro Them Trong Veek Fat Trine Noi Dung Cho Video. Twasan Song Jup Du. User. Zak Din Motif Dang Kwa Tudeo Tren Va Tu Du Cho Twa Outline 13 Fan Theo, Dang Ma Banda Zak Din. Sao Du 2 Random Outline 13 Fan Theo 1 Hong Moi Vi, Sai Ket Va Siu Viet Moi Di, Kong Can Hoi Lai Twa. Assistant. Dua Tren Tu De Banda Kung Cap. The Hells Angels biker found the little girl trapped against a fallen log, and his fury turned the flood into his weapon. Motif Kwa Tu De Nai Thwak Veo Dang. Biker Q Trayam. / Nin Nan So High. Rescue / Protection Stories. Hashtag Outline 13 Fan Theo Dang. Biker Q Trayam / Nin Nan So High. 1. Cold Open Cu Seat Song. Biker Na Tiang Ka Q Hoke Thay Mot Kan Tuong Gay Soc. Vidu. Tiang Ka Q Vong Lai Trong Dem Toy. Biker Quay Lai Nin Thay Mot Ko Bi by Ket Dui K Go by Na. 2. Fat Hien Nan Nan. Ko Bi by Thuong. Uot. Tuet Vong. Vidu. Kobe La Het V by Ket Dui K. Teva Chan by Thuong. Va Kong the Tu Jai Thot. 3. Fan Xaq Nuoi. Biker Lap Tuc Han Dong Tre Voi Nguyen Tak Duong Fo. Vidu. Biker Voi Vang Che Din. Mak Du Ban Then On Ta Beat Rang Jup Du Ko the Keen On by Quan Veo Rac Roy. 4. Fan Ung Fong Ve Quan Nan Nan. Kobe So Biker. Gi Biker Se Lam Hai Ko. Vidu. Kobe Nin Biker Voi on Mat Hong So. Louis Lai V Tuong on Tala Nuoiza. 5. Teep Suk Dao Tien. Biker Tranin. Han Dong De Jiodong Tre Nguak V Nguai. Vidu. Biker Nain Hang Noi. Dung So. Twa Kong Lam Hiam Dao. Va Tu Tu Dua Te Jup Kobe. 6. Flashback Dao Don Kwa Biker. Kwa Ku Sai Lam / Lin Quan Den Tre / Mb Kok. Vidu. Biker No Lai Hin on Kong Gai Min. Nujama on Kong the Bao Vi Kai Ko by Thuong Trong Motvu Tine and Truok Day. 7. Ku Twist No #1. Fat Hien Them Noi Ko. Xe Sap No. Nuoi Za Quay Lai. Vidu. Anin Ko Tiang Dong Lon. Va Biker Nin Ra Ko Mot Nam Nuoi Dang Den Gon. Ho Ko the Gay Noi Him Cho Ko Bi. 8. Koan Kok Ket Noi Sao. Nen Nin Noi Ju Lam Biker. Vora Bin Trong. Vidu. Kobe Kok Nuke Nova Noi Rang Mi Koda Bo Roy Ko. Keen Biker Cam. Thay Dao Long Va Dong Cam Sao Sak. 9. Tim Tro Jup. Goi Q Thuong / So Q / Dua Len Xe. Vidu. Biker Rut Dien Tho Ira. Goi Q Thuong Va Lam Moi Catch to Kobe Kong by Soc Them. 10. Kan Tro and Song Tang. Mua. Bao. Ket Duong. Tai Nan. Nuoi Za Dui Theo. Vidu. Mua Bat Dao Du Suong. Duong Tro Nintron Truit Va Xeq Thuong Kong the Den Nai Lap Tuc. 11. Payoff Cam Suck. Nen Nan and Tone. Biker Run Te V Cam Suck Dang Trail. Vidu. Kobe de Duok Q. Va Biker Tho Feo Ne Nam. Taven Run Viet Song Tang Va Cam Giak Bao Vi Tant Song. 12. Bien. Ko Mo Duong ***. Hello Rang Day, Chi La Koi Dao. Man Moi Moi. Vidu. Kai Biker Quay Lai Nin. On Thay Mot Cheek Xe La Dung Lio Xa. Va Beat Rang Moi Noi Him Chua Tuk Suket Tuk. 13. Hook tap sao, biker quiet din dan then veo kuok doi nin nan. Vidu, biker nin kobe va quiet din se bao ve kobe mai. Sinsong doi mat voi moi Thursday, thatch teep theo. Hashtag random outline, 13 fan theo mot hung moi vi itsai ket. 1. Cold open siu seat song. Biker na tieng ka q trong dim toi va nin thay mot ko b by mac ket dui ke go na. Biker ko cam jiak ko chien kong on va lap tuc dung lidakim tra. 2. Fat hien nan. Ko buot. Kong the tu jai thot. And hung ko vi nu koda by bo lai. Kobe nin biker bang on mat day, so hai va tuet vong. 3. Fan xaq nuoi. Biker dung suc man quam min de jai q kobe. Mac du beat rang han dong nai ko the kio theo rac roy lon. On tabi ko bra koi noi noihim. In Hong Kong beat aise din tim ko 4. Fan ung fong ve quan nan. Kobe hong lon va yu ka biker kong lam hai min. Kobe ka xian on kong de consat hok nuoi la tim thay min. 5. Teep suk dao tien, biker tran and Kobe, dung jong junain hang. Kok han so voi vi nguai kwamin. Asterisk on noi. Em and tone roy, dung so. Asterisk 6. Flashback dao don qua biker. Mo kyuc dao buon vemot lon on kong the q duok nuoi then. No lie hin on me min. Nuoi de mat trong mot vu. Tai nin ma on kong the lam gi duok. 7. Ku twist no hashtag 1. Biker nin thay kobe ko mot vet thuong neum, trong ma on kong the su ly. On lo lang va and han chong goi tro jup. And hung beat, rang thoi john dan kan dan. 8. Koen kok, ket noi sao. Kobe teet lo rang ko dang che tron koi mot, kun noi him va kong. The kwe vina. Biker cam nin duok su ko don va tuet vong qua kobe. 9. Tim tro jup. Biker goi xeq thuong vakan then bang bo vet thuong cho kobe. On jup ko on din tin trang. And hung beat, rang noi him van con hien dine. 10. Kan tro and song tang. Biker nin ra mot cheek xe la dang theo doi ho tu xa. Va tin hin song tang han. Biker lo lang rang nuoi za dang, din gon va kong ko thoi john de tron. 11. Payoff cam suck. Koi kung. Kobe and tone kai duok dua veo xeq thuong. Va biker cam thay na nam. Tai nin. On ven lo lang v, and hung gise zara teep theo. 12. Bien ko mo duong. Nuoi za zut hien va doi dao voi biker trong mot kuok doi thoit song tang. Biker phi doi mat voi nuoi la dang de doa ko va and hung loi de doa. Din tu qua ku. 13. Hook tap sao. Biker quiet din kong bo roy kobe va bat dao ju trazem ai tuk su la nuoi de doa ko. Cam jiak rang de chi moi la bat dao qua mot kuok han trin noi him moi. Nu ban can them su tro jup trong vik fat trying kitch ban hok bat ky fan now trong noi dung. Dung na yuka. User. Nak lai ky thuit viet, dan cho dng ma ban de zak din tren. Teep theo phi chy noi dung qua ca 13 fan kong duok viet tat kak 2. Con so hey ky2 dac beat ma tat 5 viet ra2 day, due to voiceover ai doc tot duok. Ghinhchy noi dung qua ca 13 fan kong duok su dung ky2 asterisk. Ky2 in goi sa. Kong duok viet tat kak 2. Con so hey ky2 dac beat ma tat 5 viet ra. 2 day, due to voiceover AI doc tot duok. Equals, hey xac nintat ca thong tin nai. Assistant, twada zak nintat ca kaku ka kwa ban via se chu y din kak dm sao. 1. Dangda zak din. Biker q trayem / nin so high. Rescue / protection stories. 2 kai. Thuit viet asterisk. Asterisk gon gusong dong va hin on hoa. Emo taken vat. Han dong. Va cam suk mot catch chi ti de nuoi na ko the hin dung nu dang zem mot bo fim. Asterisk gon gu cam suk chow. Su dung kak tu kich ho cam suk man mi de ju nuoi, na cam, nin sao sak vi ka chien. Asterisk tuong fan man mi. Dua veo su tuong fan jua vi nguai kung, ran qua biker va su jio dong. Nen I ben trong qua on ta kai ku jup nuoi kok. Asterisk nip du trong ka van. Zen kujua ka non va ka di de tau nip song tang cho nuoi ne. 3. Chu Wai Kai Viet Noi Dung. Asterisk Kong Su Dung KY2 DAC Beat Nu Dao Sa. Asterisk. Hok Kak KY2 La. Asterisk Kong Viet Tak Kak 2. Con So Hey KY2 DAC Beat Ma 5 Viet Day Du. De voiceover AI Ko the Doc MOT. Catch de Dong Va Mut Ma. Asterisk Noi Dung Qua 13 Fan Phi Ro Wrong. De Doc Ma Kong Su Dung Viet Tat. Dam Bao Tin Mok Lak Cho voiceover. Twi Seghi No Va Tuan Thursday Kak Yu Ka Nai Trong Vik Fat Trien Kak Fan Noi Dung Qua Video. User Viet Fan 1 Theo Outline Kung 13 Fan de Viet Tren. Viet Fan 1 Voi 502 Theo Dung Motif Ma Banda Zak Din Va Bam Sat Tai Lu Twata Training. Kong 6 Pham Chin Sach YouTube Nu Ko Tre 6 Ton Nien Trong Ka Chien. Kong Viet Tren Canvas. Traket Qua Bang Tiang On. Phu Hop Van Hoa Mai. Don 6 Du Luong Mai. Luy. Mo Dao Fan 1 Lot NHC Li Nguyen Vien to Ma with grave Ti, A with tilde Gi. Chi Dung Kom Wa Tuda. Kong Gioi Thu Them. Kong Them Kong Bot. Sao Du Moi Den Fan Gioi Thu Tuong Tok Cta Kyo. Hello everyone. Before we begin today's story, I have a small favor to ask. Please hit subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you never miss our channel's new videos. It's quick, free, and the best way to support us in bringing you more dramatic stories. Your support means the world to us. Where are you watching from? Drop your city or country in the comments below. Thank you very much. Veo Dien Bien Ka Chien Gata Mal. Chy Van Fong Ky Thuat Viet Tra Lai Ket Quada Voiceover Doc Lam Noi Dung Lean Mok Cho Video YouTube Chu Kong Ko Them Ghi Chu Bien Tap Nu Dao Dien. Chy Noi Dung Kong Duok Viet KY2 DAC Beat. Kong Duok Su Dung KY2 Asterisk. KY2 In Goi Sa. Kong Duok Viet Tak Kak 2. Con So Hey KY2 DC Beat Ma Tat 5 Viet R8 2 Day Du De Voiceover AI Doc Tot Duok. Traket Qua Trong Mot Koi Van Ban Due Not. Kong Chia Don Cho Du Van Ban Tra Ra Di Nu The Now Di Chong Nua Kung Kong Chia Don De Tran by Hu Lam Va Dong Nam Dao. Dat Ton Bo Koi Van Ban Trong Down Goak Vong. Viet Bang Tiang On. Phu Hop Van Hoa Mai. Don 6 Du Luong Mai. Mbo Tun Bi Ket Qua Duok Tra Trong Mot Koi Van Ban Due Not. Kong Chia Don. Kong Them Tuda. Kong Suong Dong. Bao Ton Bo Noi Dung. Trong Down Goak Vong. Vi Du. Tioi with grave NB Noi Dung Chuin Thun. A with circumflex M. Ton Trong Mot Koi Van Ban Due Not. Kong Tra Ra Code. JSON. Bnet. PGSQL. Assistant. The Hells Angels biker found the little girl trapped against a fallen log, and his fury turned the flood into his weapon. Hello everyone. Before we begin today's story, I have a small favor to ask. Please hit subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you never miss our channel's new videos. It's quick, free, and the best way to support us in bringing you more dramatic stories. Your support means the world to us. Where are you watching from? Drop your city or country in the comments below. Thank you very much. Now, let's get into the story. It was a cold evening in the middle of winter when Jake Morrison, a Hells Angels biker with a reputation as fierce as a storm, found himself riding through the dense woods. The roar of his Harley-Davidson was the only sound in the quiet of the night, as he cut through the foggy road, his leather jacket creaking with every turn. He had been on the road for hours, seeking nothing but the solace of the open highway, a world where his past and present collided into one long, uninterrupted ride. Suddenly, out of the corner of his eye, something unusual caught his attention, a flash of light. Without thinking, Jake slowed his bike and stopped, his instincts telling him something was wrong. He looked closer and saw it. A small figure struggling under a heavy fallen log, barely visible in the dim light of the moon. His heart raced as he dismounted and rushed toward the scene. It was a little girl, no more than 8 years old, trapped beneath the massive tree trunk. Her cries were faint but desperate, and Jake's heart skipped a beat as he realized the gravity of the situation. She was small, frail, and terrified, her clothes torn, her skin pale from the cold. The storm was growing fiercer, and if he didn't act fast, it might be too late. Without hesitation, Jake kneeled down beside the girl, his rough, tattooed hands gently touching her shoulder. "Hey kid, it's going to be all right. I'm going to get you out of here," Jake said, his voice surprisingly calm, the gruffness of his usual tones softened by urgency. The girl flinched, her wide eyes filled with fear. She looked at him as if he were another threat, her tiny body shaking with pain and terror. Jake could feel the weight of her fear, but he didn't flinch. His hand remained on her shoulder, reassuring her that he wasn't there to harm her. As he worked to lift the log off her, memories of his own painful past flashed before his eyes. He'd seen his own daughter suffer, unable to protect her in time, and now, here was another innocent soul, relying on him. His fingers tightened around the log, and with one powerful heave, the log was off her. The girl gasped, pulling her body away from the debris. Jake helped her sit up, carefully placing his jacket around her shivering shoulders. He could see the fear still in her eyes, and he knew that the road to safety would be far from easy. The storm raged on, and as he checked for injuries, the only thing that mattered was getting her to safety. But the danger was far from over. They weren't alone in these woods, and Jake could feel the presence of someone, watching them. His protective instincts flared up as he scanned the surroundings. His senses heightened. A sharp, unfamiliar noise echoed through the trees, and Jake's grip on the girl tightened. This wasn't just about saving her now. It was about surviving the night. But even as he braced for what might come next, he couldn't help but wonder if this would be his redemption. Could this little girl be the one to finally heal the wounds of his past? User, Viet Fan 2 Theo Outline Kung 13 Fan de Viet Tren. Viet Fan 2 Voice 702 Theo Dung Motif Ma Banda Zak Din Va Bam, Sat Tai Lu Twata Training. Kong 6 Pham Chin, Sach YouTube Nu Ko Tre 6 Ton Nian Tron Ka Chien. Kong Viet Tren Canvas. Viet Fan 2 Teep Noi Fan 1 Va Kong Nak Lai Tuda. No Dong Not Nan Vat Va Boi Can. Twin Noi John Sa Cho Fu Hop. Traket Qua Bang Tiang On, Fu Hop Van Hoa Mai. Don 6 Du Luong Mai. Chy Van Fong Ky Thuet Viet Tra Lai Ket Quada Voiceover Doc Lam. Noi, Dung Lean Mok Cho Video YouTube. Chu Kong Ko Them Ghi. Chu Bien Tap, Nu Dao Dien. Chy Noi Dung Kong Duok Viet KY2 DAC Beat. Kong Duok Su Dung KY2 Asterisk. KY2 Hin Goi Sa. Kong Duok Viet Tat Kak 2. Con So Hey KY2 DC Beat Ma Tat 5 Viet Ra 2 Day, Du De Voiceover AI Doc Tot Duok. Traket Qua Trong Mot Koi Van Ban Due Not. Kong Chia Don Cho Du Van Ban Traore Di Nu The Now Di Chong Nua Kung Kong Chia, Don De Tran by Hugh Lam Va Dong Nam Dao. Dat Ton Bo Koi Van Ban Trong Down Goak Vong. Viet Bang Tiang On, Fu Hop Van Hoa Mai. Don 6 Du Luong Mai. Mbio Tun Bi Ket Qua Duok Tra Trong Mot Koi Van Ban Due Not. Kong Chia Don, Kong Them Tuda, Kong Suong Dong. Bao Ton Bo Noi Dung, Trong Down Goak Vong. Vi Du, Tioi with grave NB Noi Dung Chuin Thun, E with circumflex M Ton Trong Mot Koi Van Ban Due Not. Kong Tra RA Code, JSON, BNet, PGSQL. Assistant. I could feel the weight of the moment pressing on me as I helped the little girl to her feet, her fragile body shaking from both fear and the cold. The storm had picked up, the rain pelting us like icy needles, and the wind howling through the trees, adding to the chaos of the night. The girl, no older than 8, still had tears in her eyes, her face streaked with dirt and anguish. She was shivering, but as I wrapped my leather jacket around her small frame, her eyes finally locked onto mine. I could see the trust in them, but I knew it wasn't enough to erase her fear. The danger wasn't over. It never was. The only thing that mattered now was getting her to safety. We need to move, kid. It's not safe here, I said, my voice a low growl, but I made sure to soften the tone. The girl nodded slowly, still hesitant, as if unsure whether to follow or to run. Her hands clutched the jacket tightly around her shoulders. I looked at her, making sure she could walk. She was limping slightly, but she was able to stand, so I guided her gently through the woods. The path was treacherous, the wet ground slippery with mud and fallen leaves. I kept my hand on her back, steadying her as we moved forward, the heavy sound of my boots echoing through the otherwise silent forest. Every so often, I would glance over my shoulder, scanning the dark woods, my senses sharp. Something about tonight felt different. The storm wasn't just a storm. It felt like the world was pressing in on us, like there were eyes in the dark waiting for the right moment to strike. As we walked, I couldn't help but think about my own past. It wasn't the first time I had found myself protecting someone, but this felt different. There was something about this little girl, her innocence, her vulnerability, that hit a nerve deep inside me. I had been on the run from my past for years, trying to outrun the mistakes I made, the things I couldn't change. But here, with this girl by my side, I felt something stir inside me that I hadn't felt in a long time, something good. I pushed the thought aside, focusing on the present. We had to get out of here. My mind raced through options. The nearest town was a few miles away, but it was on the other side of the woods, and the road was too dangerous to navigate in the dark with a child who could barely walk. The only place I knew of that was close was my old cabin, isolated, quiet, and far from the city. It wasn't much, but it was shelter. And right now, that was all that mattered. I turned to the girl. I know a place we can go. It's not far, but we need to move fast. Her eyes were wide, and for the first time since I found her, I saw something else in her gaze. It wasn't just fear anymore, it was hope. She nodded, and we pressed on. The wind howled louder, and I could feel the storm intensifying, the rain coming down in sheets. But it wasn't just the storm I was worried about. As we moved deeper into the woods, I heard it, the sound of footsteps, low and deliberate, echoing through the trees. My instincts kicked in, and I froze, motioning for the girl to stay quiet. We stopped in our tracks, barely breathing, listening to the forest around us. The footsteps got closer, and I could hear the unmistakable sound of heavy boots crunching on the wet ground. It was too dark to see who was approaching, but I could feel their presence. I crouched down, pulling the girl close to me, my hand over her mouth to silence any sound. I could feel her trembling against me, but I kept my focus. Whoever it was, they weren't just passing by. They were looking for something. Or someone. My heart pounded in my chest as the footsteps grew louder, closer, until I could almost feel the ground beneath me shaking. There was no time to run, no time to hide, but I wasn't going to let them hurt her. Not on my watch. The footsteps stopped just ahead of us. I could hear their breathing, steady and deep. Someone was close, too close for comfort. And then, in the silence of the storm, I heard a voice. I know you're out there. Come out and make this easy. It was a deep voice, rough like gravel, with an edge that made my blood run cold. I didn't need to see them to know they weren't friendly. I wasn't about to let them take us. I reached for the knife at my belt, my fingers brushing the worn leather handle. The girl was still, clutching my jacket, but I could feel her heart racing in her chest, just as mine was. I stood up slowly, signaling for her to stay behind me. The cold, wet wind slapped against my face as I turned to face whoever was out there, ready for whatever came next. User, Viet Fan 3 Theo Outline Kung 13 Fan de Viet Tren. Viet Fan 3 Voice 702 Theo Dung Motif Ma Banda Zak Din Va Bam, Sat Tai Lu Twata Training. Kong 6 Pham Chin, Sat YouTube Nu Ko Tre 6 Ton Nien Tron Ka Chien. Kong Viet Tren Canvas. Viet Fan 3 Teep Noi Fan 2 Va Kong Nak Lai Tuda. No Dong Not Nan Vat Va Boi Can. Twen Noi John Sa Cho Fu Hop. Traket Qua Bang Tiang On. Phu Hop Van Hoa Mai, Don 6 Du Luong Mai, CHY Van Fong KY Thuat Viet Tra Lai Ket Quada Voiceover Doc Lam, NOI, Dung Lean Mok Cho Video YouTube, Chu Kong Ko Them GHI, Chu Bien Tap, Nu Dao Dien. CHY Noi Dung Kong Duok Viet KY2 DAC Beat, Kong Duok Su Dung KY2 Asterisk, KY2 In Goi Sa. Kong Duok Viet Tat Kak 2. Con So Hey KY2 DC Beat Matat 5 Viet RA 2 Day, due to voiceover AI Doc Tot Duok. Traket Qua Trong MOT Koi Van Ban Due Not. Kong Chia Don Cho Du Van Ban Tra Ra Di Nu The Now Di Chong Nua Kung Kong Chia, Don De Tran by Hugh Lam Va Dong Nam Dao. Dat Ton Bo Koi Van Ban Trong Down Goak Vong. Viet Bang Tiang On, Phu Hop Van Hoa Mai, Don 6 Du Luong Mai. Mbio Tun Bi Ket Qua Duok Tra Trong Mot Koi Van Ban Due Not. Kong Chia Don, Kong Them Tuda, Kong Suong Dong. Bao Ton Bo Noi Dung, Trong Down Goak Vong. Vi Du, Tioi with grave NB Noi Dung Chuin Thun, E with circumflex M Ton Trong Mot Koi Van Ban Due Not. Kong Tra RA Code, JSON, BNet, PGSQL. Assistant. I stood still, the tension in the air thick as I listened to the heavy boots crunching closer through the mud. I could feel the girl trembling behind me, her small body pressed against mine, clinging to my jacket as though it was the only thing keeping her safe. My fingers tightened around the knife handle, the cold steel reassuring in my grip. The footsteps stopped just in front of us, and for a moment, everything was eerily silent, as if the entire forest was holding its breath. Then, the voice came again, louder this time, almost demanding. I know you're out there. Don't make this harder than it needs to be. My heart raced, not from fear, but from the adrenaline coursing through me. This wasn't my first fight, but protecting this little girl made it personal. Whoever this was, I wasn't going to let them harm her. I motioned for her to stay quiet, my eyes scanning the dark, looking for any movement. I knew they were close, but I couldn't see them through the thick woods and pouring rain. The storm was our cover, but it could also be their advantage. I didn't have much time. The footsteps started moving again, slower now, as if they were circling us. I crouched low, my knees nearly touching the wet ground, and pulled the girl closer, whispering to her. Stay behind me, and don't make a sound. No matter what happens, don't move. I could hear her soft breath, her heart racing in fear, but she nodded, clutching onto me even tighter. My senses were on high alert now, every muscle in my body coiled like a spring. I had to make a choice, stay hidden and hope they moved on, or take action. I wasn't about to sit back and wait to be caught. In one swift motion, I stood up, turning to face the unknown threat. You want to find me? Come and get me. My voice was steady, but my heart was hammering in my chest. I didn't know if this was the right move, but I wasn't going to let these people think they could intimidate me. The sound of movement through the trees stopped immediately, and for a brief moment, I thought they had retreated. But then I saw it, a flash of dark clothing, a silhouette against the misty backdrop of the storm. My body went on instinct. I moved fast, charging forward with all the speed and force I could muster. The girl's safety was my priority, but I wasn't going to let them get the upper hand. I grabbed the nearest branch, swinging it like a weapon, aiming for the figure. But just as I made contact, a powerful hand grabbed my wrist, stopping my strike midair. I spun, pulling away, and found myself face to face with a man dressed in black, his features hidden by the shadows and the rain. He had a cold, calculating look in his eyes, and something about the way he stared at me told me he wasn't afraid of a fight. You're the one with the Hell's Angels jacket, aren't you? He said, his voice low, almost mocking. I didn't respond. I couldn't afford to say anything that might give him an edge. Instead, I focused on the girl. She was still hidden behind me, but I could feel her presence, her vulnerability. That was the last thing these people needed to see. Stay down, I muttered to her without turning. The man smirked. You think you can protect her? You're outnumbered. We don't care who you are or what you've done. This is bigger than you. He took a step forward, and I braced myself, my grip tightening on the knife. I wasn't going to let him intimidate me. I don't know what you're after, but if you think you can take her, you'll have to go through me first, I said, my voice unwavering. The man paused, his eyes narrowing, as if deciding how best to deal with me. For a moment, I thought I could see hesitation in his eyes, but it was gone as quickly as it appeared. Without warning, he lunged at me, and I reacted instinctively, sidestepping and slashing the knife in front of me. The blade made contact, and I felt it sink into something soft. The man grunted, stumbling back, but he didn't go down. Instead, he reached for something at his belt, a gun. My heart skipped a beat. I wasn't equipped for this. I had a knife, and now I was facing a weapon. But I wasn't going to back down. I had to protect her. I could see the gun coming into view, but I was faster. I kicked at his chest, knocking him off balance, and sent him sprawling to the ground. The gun slid from his hand and into the mud. I didn't wait for him to recover. I grabbed the girl's hand and pulled her behind me, running as fast as I could through the rain-soaked woods. My breath was ragged, my body tense with fear and adrenaline. I had no idea if the man would get up and follow, but I wasn't sticking around to find out. I didn't know where we were going yet, but I knew we couldn't stay here. The storm was relentless, and the night was only getting darker. But I wasn't going to stop until I knew she was safe. User, Viet Fan 4 Theo Outline Kung 13 Fan de Viet Tren. Viet Fan 4 Voy 702 Theo Dung Motif Ma Banda Zak Din Va Bam, Sat Tai Lu Twata Training. Kong 6 Pham Chin, Sach YouTube Nu Ko Tre 6 Ton Nien Trong Ka Chien. Kong Viet Tren Canvas. Viet Fan 4 Teep Noi Fan 3 Va Kong Nak Lai Tuda. No Dong Not Nan Vat Va Boi Can. Twin Loi John Sa Cho Fu Hop. Tra Ket Qua Bang Tiang On, Fu Hop Van Hoa Mai, Don 6 Du Luong Mai, Chy Van Fong Ky Thuat Viet Tra Lai Ket Qua De Voiceover Doc Lam, Noi, Dung Lean Mok Cho Video YouTube, Chu Kong Ko Them Ghi, Chu Bien Tap, Nu Dao Dying. Chy Noi Dung Kong Duok Viet KY2 DAC Beat, Kong Duok Su Dung KY2 Asterisk, KY2 Hin Goi Sa. Kong Duok Viet Tak Kak 2. Con So Hey KY2 DC Beat Matat 5 Viet RA2 Day, Du De Voiceover AI Doc Tot Duok. Tra Ket Qua Trong Mot Koi Van Ban Due Not. Kong Chia Don Cho Du Van Ban Tra Ra Di Nu The Now Di Chong Nua Kung Kong Chia, Don De Tran by Hugh Lam Va Dong Nam Dao. Dat Ton Bo Koi Van Ban Trong Down Goak Vong. Viet Bang Tiang On, Fu Hop Van Hoa Mai, Don 6 Du Luong Mai. Mbio Tun Bi Ket Qua Duok Tra Trong Mot Koi Van Ban Due Not. Kong Chia Don, Kong Them Tuda, Kong Suong Dong. Bao Ton Bo Noi Dung, Trong Down Goak Vong. Vi Du, Tioi with grave NB Noi Dung Chuin Thun, E with circumflex M, Ton Trong Mot Koi Van Ban Due Not. Kong Tra RA Code, JSON, BNet, PGSQL. Assistant. I ran as fast as I could through the rain-soaked woods, my heart pounding with every step. The girl clung to my side, her small body pressed against me as we weaved through the trees, the cold wind biting at our faces. The storm was getting worse, and I could barely see through the sheets of rain that blurred the path ahead. The sound of footsteps was still echoing in my ears, and I knew we weren't out of danger yet. My mind raced as I tried to think of our next move. I could hear the wind howling, but the pounding of my own heart drowned out everything else. The girl was breathing heavily beside me, her steps faltering as she struggled to keep up. I glanced down at her, concern flooding through me. Come on, kid. Stay with me, I said, trying to keep my voice steady, despite the panic building inside. She nodded, but her face was pale and strained. I could feel her fear, and I knew it was more than just the storm. This wasn't just a random encounter. Whoever had been chasing us wasn't going to stop. I had to find a way to get us out of here. The forest was thick, and every tree seemed to close in on us as we moved deeper into the wilderness. My eyes kept scanning the trees, looking for any signs of movement, any indication that we were being followed. I couldn't let my guard down. The girl stumbled over a fallen branch, and I grabbed her just in time, steadying her before she hit the ground. Are you okay? I asked, my voice low but urgent. She nodded, though she didn't speak. I could see the fear in her eyes, and it twisted something deep inside me. I wasn't just protecting her from the people chasing us. I was protecting her from a world that had already hurt her. We need to keep moving, I said, urging her forward. Stay close. We pressed on, but the rain was relentless, and the forest seemed to go on forever. I could feel the exhaustion in my legs, but I didn't dare stop. Not yet. I kept pushing forward, my mind focused on one thing, survival. After what felt like an eternity, we reached the edge of the woods, and I could finally see the faint outline of my cabin in the distance. It wasn't much, but it was all I had. The only place I knew that was safe enough to hide. I pushed the girl ahead of me, urging her to keep going. She didn't question me. She just followed, trusting me completely, and that trust weighed heavily on my heart. As we got closer, I could see that the door was slightly ajar. I froze, my heart racing. Someone had been here. I motioned for the girl to stay back, crouching low as I approached the door. My hand went to the handle, and I slowly pushed it open. The inside of the cabin was dark, but the smell of old wood and dust hit me immediately. There was no sign of life, no one was here. But the sense of unease didn't go away. I stepped inside, my eyes scanning every corner. The girl stayed close behind me, her small frame barely visible in the dim light. I closed the door softly behind us, locking it with a quiet click. We were safe for now, but I knew it wouldn't last long. The storm was still raging outside, and the people who had been after us wouldn't give up so easily. Stay here, I said, my voice low but firm. I'll check around, make sure no one's following us. The girl nodded, her eyes wide but silent. She was still afraid, but she trusted me to protect her. I couldn't let her down. I moved quickly through the cabin, checking the windows and doors. Everything was locked, and the cabin seemed undisturbed. But something didn't sit right with me. I could feel it, an unease creeping over me like a shadow I couldn't shake. I paused at the window, peering out into the storm. The forest was dark, but I could make out shapes moving in the distance. It was hard to tell if they were human or just the trees swaying in the wind, but I couldn't shake the feeling that someone was out there, watching. I stepped back from the window and turned to the girl. "We're safe for now," I said, though I wasn't entirely sure I believed it. "But we can't stay here for long." She didn't say anything, just nodded and looked down at the floor, her hands wrapped tightly around her knees. I could tell she was exhausted, both physically and emotionally. I needed to get her somewhere safe, somewhere that wasn't so vulnerable. But the road ahead was unclear, and the storm wasn't going to make it any easier. "I'll keep you safe," I promised, my voice more to myself than to her. I wasn't sure how I was going to do it, but I knew I had no choice. The world outside was dangerous, but the girl, she was worth fighting for. User, Viet Fan 5 Theo Outline Kung 13 Fan de Viet Tren. Viet Fan 5 Voice 702 Theo Dung Motif Ma Banda Zak Din Va Bam, Sat Tai Lu Twata Training. Kong 6 Pham Chin, Sach YouTube Nu Ko Tre 6 Ton Nien Tron Ka Chien. Kong Viet Tren Canvas. Viet Fan 5 Teep Noi Fan 4 Va Kong Nak Lai Tuda. No Dong Not Nan Vat Va Boi Can. Twin Noi John Sa Cho Fu Hop. Traket Qua Bang Tiang On, Fu Hop Van Hoa Mai. Don 6 Du Luong Mai. CHY Van Fong KY Thuat Viet Tra Lai Ket Quada Voiceover Doc Lam. NOI, Dung Lean Mok Cho Video YouTube. Chu Kong Ko Them GHI, Chu Bien Tap, Nu Dao Dying. CHY Noi Dung Kong Duok Viet KY2 DAC Beat. Kong Duok Su Dung KY2 Asterisk. KY2 Ngoi Sa. Kong Duok Viet Tat Kak 2. Kon So Hey KY2 DC Beat Ma Tat 5 Viet RA 2 Day, Du De Voiceover AI Doc Tot Duok. Traket Qua Trong Mot Koi Van Ban Due Not. Kong Chia Don Cho Du Van Ban Tra Ra Di Nu The Now Di Chong Nua Kung Kong Chia, Don De Tran by Hugh Lam Va Dong Nam Dao. Dat Ton Bo Koi Van Ban Trong Down Goak Vong. Viet Bang Tiang On, Fu Hop Van Hoa Mai. Don 6 Du Luong Mai. Mbio Tun Bi Ket Qua Duok Tra Trong Mot Koi Van Ban Due Not. Kong Chia Don, Kong Them Tuda, Kong Suong Dong. Bao Ton Bo Noi Dung, Trong Down Goak Vong. Vi Du, Tioi with Grave NB Noi Dung Chwin Thun, A with Circumflex M Ton Trong Mot Koi Van Ban Due Not. Kong Tra RA Code, JSON, BNet, PGSQL. Assistant. I sat on the old wooden chair, my eyes still scanning the small cabin as the storm raged outside. The wind howled through the cracks in the walls, and the rain slammed against the windows like a relentless drum. The girl was sitting in the corner, wrapped in a blanket I had found in one of the drawers. Her eyes were wide, still filled with fear, but there was something else in them now, a hint of exhaustion and confusion. I could see the wheels turning in her mind, the questions she didn't have the words to ask. She didn't need to ask. I could see it. I knew what she was thinking. "Are we safe here?" she finally asked, her voice barely a whisper, as if speaking too loudly might shatter the fragile sense of security we had. I looked at her, my heart aching with the weight of the promise I had made to keep her safe. "For now, yeah," I said, though I wasn't sure how long that would last. I wasn't sure of anything anymore. The man I had faced in the woods, the one who had tried to intimidate me, wasn't working alone. There were others. I could feel it in my bones. The danger wasn't over. It would never be over until I got her to a place where she could be truly safe. I stood up, pacing across the room, trying to figure out our next move. The girl watched me, her eyes tracking every step I took, but she didn't speak. I didn't need to tell her that we couldn't stay here. The cabin was too exposed. The storm outside was bad, but it was the silence that worried me more. The calm before the storm. I glanced out the window again, but the darkness of the night swallowed up the view. There were no more sounds coming from the woods, but that only made my senses sharper. I knew that the moment I let my guard down, they'd strike. "Listen to me," I said, turning to face her. "We need to move. We can't stay here long. It's not safe." She didn't argue. She didn't even look scared. She just nodded, her small frame wrapped up in the blanket like a cocoon. Her bravery made something stir deep inside me, and for a brief moment, I felt something I hadn't felt in years, a glimmer of hope. But the truth was, we weren't out of the woods yet, and I had no idea where to go. I could try to get us back to town, but that meant going back through the woods, through the same danger we had just escaped. And the storm was Only getting worse. I walked over to the table, where my duffel bag was sitting. I reached in, grabbing my flashlight and the map I had kept in my pack for emergencies. I needed to find a route, a place to take her. Somewhere safer than this cabin. Somewhere they wouldn't find us. My hands were shaking as I unfolded the map, but I couldn't afford to let my fears show. I couldn't afford to let her see it. There's a cabin about 10 miles from here, I said, pointing to a spot on the map. It was an old hunting lodge, one I had used a few times when I needed to get away from everything. It was isolated, hidden deep in the woods, and most people didn't even know it existed. We'll go there. It's a little farther, but it's safer. No one will find us there. The girl looked up at me, her eyes still filled with uncertainty, but also a spark of hope. Will we be okay? She asked, her voice trembling. I swallowed hard, my throat tight. I didn't want to lie to her, but I couldn't show her how much I was actually afraid. Yeah, I said, my voice low and steady. We'll be okay. I grabbed my jacket and pulled it on, then walked over to the girl. Come on, kid. We need to get moving. She stood up slowly, still holding the blanket around her shoulders like a shield. I could tell she was scared, but she was trying to be strong. I admired that about her. She was tougher than I had expected. We moved quietly through the cabin, my eyes darting to the door and the windows, making sure no one was outside. I couldn't afford to be careless. Not now. Not with her life in my hands. We stepped outside into the rain, the storm now a full-on downpour. The cold hit me immediately, but I kept my focus. We couldn't waste time. I led the girl through the woods, keeping to the path that would take us to the lodge. The darkness felt suffocating, and the only sounds were the crackling of the storm and our footsteps in the wet ground. I could feel the eyes on us, even if I couldn't see them. I couldn't let my guard down. I couldn't let anything happen to her. The further we walked, the more I could feel the tension rising. I was exhausted, both physically and mentally. But every step I took, every breath I drew, was for her. I would get her to safety, no matter what it took. User, Viet Fan 6 Theo Outline Kung 13 Fan de Viet Tren. Viet Fan 6 Voice 702 Theo Dung Motif Ma Banda Zak Din Va Bam, Sat Tai Lu Twata Training. Kong 6 Pham Chin, Sach YouTube Nu Ko Tre 6 Ton Nien Tron Ka Chien. Kong Viet Tren Canvas. Viet Fan 6 Teep Noi Fan 5 Va Kong Nak Lai Tuda. No Dong Not Nan Vat Va Boi Can. Twin Loi John Sa Cho Fu Hop. Traket Qua Bang Tiang On. Fu Hop Van Hoa Mai. Don 6 Du Luong Mai. CHY Van Fong KY Thuet Viet Tra Lai Ket Quada Voiceover Doc Lam. NOI, Dung Lean Mok Cho Video YouTube. Chu Kong Ko Them GHI. Chu Bien Tap, Nu Dao Dying. CHY Noi Dung Kong Duok Viet KY2 DAC Beat. Kong Duok Su Dung KY2 Asterisk. KY2 In Goi Sa. Kong Duok Viet Tak Kak 2. Con So Hey KY2 DC Beat Matat 5 Viet RA 2 Day, Du De Voiceover AI Doc Tot Duok. Traket Qua Trong MOT Koi Van Ban Due Not. Kong Chia Don Cho Du Van Ban Tra Ra Di Nu The Now Di Chong Nua Kung Kong Chia, Don De Tran by Hugh Lam Va Dong Nam Dao. Dat Ton Bo Koi Van Ban Trong Down Goak Vong. Viet Bang Tiang On, Fu Hop Van Hoa Mai. Don 6 Du Luong Mai. Mbio Tun Bi Ket Qua Duok Tra Trong Mot Koi Van Ban Due Not. Kong Chia Don, Kong Them Tuda, Kong Suong Dong. Bao Ton Bo Noi Dung, Trong Down Goak Vong. Vi Du. Tioi with grave NB NOI Dung Chuin Thun, A with circumflexem Ton Trong Mot Koi Van Ban Due Not. Kong Tra RA Code, JSON, BNet, PGSQL. Assistant. I could feel the rain drenching me to the bone as we pushed through the thick woods. The girl was still clinging to me, her small hands barely able to keep up with my pace as we moved swiftly through the storm. The night was so dark that even the dim glow of my flashlight seemed like it could barely cut through the gloom. The sound of the rain pounding on the trees and the wind howling around us made it feel like we were trapped in some kind of never-ending storm. Every few steps, I checked over my shoulder, my instincts telling me that someone was out there, lurking, just waiting for the right moment to strike. The girl was quiet now, her fear no longer a constant cry, but the tension between us was still palpable. We were both exhausted, but I couldn't stop. Not yet. We had to keep moving, had to get to that lodge before we ran out of time. As we moved deeper into the woods, I couldn't shake the feeling that we were being followed. I tried to convince myself it was just the nerves, the storm playing tricks on my mind, but something in my gut told me I was wrong. I picked up the pace, my boots crunching through the wet leaves, the girl stumbling slightly behind me. Stay close, I muttered, barely able to hear my own voice over the storm. She nodded, her steps quickening to match mine. I could tell she was scared, but she was trying so hard to be brave. The storm was relentless, but the worst part was the silence. There was no sign of anyone else in the woods, but I knew that didn't mean we were safe. Every instinct I had told me that we were being hunted. My hand went to the knife at my side, and I could feel the familiar weight of it, a reminder that I was ready for whatever might come. A few more steps, and we would reach the lodge, I told myself. A few more steps, and we would be hidden, safe for the time being. The wind picked up, the trees swaying violently, but the girl kept walking, no longer asking questions, just following, trusting me. She had no choice. I kept my eyes on the path ahead, trying to ignore the feeling that I was being watched, but I couldn't shake it. The sound of the storm was deafening, but there was still something off. A noise, a crackling of leaves underfoot. I stopped dead in my tracks, my heart leaping into my throat. The girl almost bumped into me, but I held up my hand to stop her. My eyes searched the dark, trying to pierce through the rain and the wind, but I couldn't see a damn thing. My heart hammered in my chest, my breath coming faster. The sound was getting closer, and I could feel a presence. Someone was definitely out there. I pulled the girl close to me, my arm around her as I crouched low, hiding us behind a thick tree. I could hear the sound of breathing now, slow and deliberate, just a few feet away. My blood ran cold as I realized the storm wasn't the only thing that was coming for us. I wasn't sure how many were out there, but I knew one thing for certain. We weren't alone anymore. I gripped the knife tighter, ready for whatever came next. And then I heard it. Footsteps, slow and heavy, almost like someone was trying to sneak up on us. The sound of their boots crunching against the wet ground sent a chill through me. I held my breath, counting the seconds, waiting for them to pass. But then, in the silence, I heard a voice. A low, gravelly voice. You can't hide forever. My blood ran cold. It was the same voice from earlier, the one that had threatened us in the woods. My heart raced as I realized they had found us. I didn't have a choice anymore. I couldn't wait any longer. I had to act. I turned to the girl, my eyes meeting hers, and in that moment, I saw something in her that I hadn't seen before. A quiet strength, a determination. She wasn't just some helpless child anymore. She was part of this fight now. Stay close, I whispered, and then I moved. I leaped from behind the tree, charging straight into the direction of the footsteps, the knife raised in my hand. The rain was coming down harder, but I didn't care. This was it, the moment I had been waiting for. I could hear the man's voice again, but this time, it wasn't mocking. You think you're some kind of hero? He spat, his words cutting through the storm. You're out of your league. I didn't stop. I wouldn't stop. I couldn't let him get to her. I ran straight at him, and before he had a chance to react, I swung my knife at the figure standing in front of me. The blade struck him across the arm, and he grunted, stumbling back. But he didn't fall. I could see the outline of him, just barely, in the dark. He was bigger than me, stronger, but that didn't matter. I had one goal: protect her. The man swore under his breath, his hand reaching for something at his waist. A gun. I saw it before he could aim it, and in that split second, I tackled him to the ground, my weight knocking him off balance. He hit the muddy ground with a thud, and the gun skidded away. I pinned him down, my hand pressing against his throat, my knife ready. Stay down, I growled, my voice steady despite the chaos. The man struggled beneath me, but I wasn't letting go. Not this time. User, Viet Fan 7 Theo Outline Kung 13, Fan de Viet Tren. Viet Fan 7 Voice 702 Theo Dung Motif Ma Banda Zak Din Va Bam, Sat Tai Lu Twata Training. Kong 6 Pham Chin, Sach YouTube Nu Ko Tre 6 Ton Nien Tron Ka Chien. Kong Viet Tren Canvas. Viet Fan 7 Teep Noi Fan 6 Va Kong Nak Lai Tuda. No Dong Not Nen Vat Va Boi Can. Twin Loi John Sa Cho Fu Hop. Traket Qua Bang Tiang On, Fu Hop Van Hoa Mai. Don 6 Du Luong Mai. CHY Van Fong KY Thuat Viet Tra Lai Ket Quada Voiceover Doc Lam. NOI, Dung Lean Mok Cho Video YouTube. Chu Kong Ko Them GHI. Chu Bien Tap, Nu Dao Dying. CHY Noi Dung Kong Duok Viet KY2 DAC Beat. Kong Duok Su Dung KY2 Asterisk. KY2 Hingoi Sa. Kong Duok Viet Tak Kak 2. Con so hey ky toot dc beat matat 5 yedare 2 day due to voiceover AI doctot duok. Traket qua trong mot koi van ban duwe not. Kong chia don cho du van ban traare di nu the now di chong nua kung kong chia don de tran by hu lam va dong nam dao. Dat ton bo koi van ban trong down goak vong. Viet bang tiang on, fu hop van hoa mai, don 6 du luong mai. Mbio tun bi ket qua duok tra trong mot koi van ban duwe not. Kong chia don, kong them. Chuda, kong suong dong. Bao ton bo noi dung, trong down goak vong. Vi du, tioi with grave nb noi dung chuin thun, e with circumflex m ton trong mot koi van ban duwe not. Kong tra ra code, JSON, bnet, pgsql. Assistant. I held the man down with all the strength I had left, my knife pressing hard against his throat. He was struggling beneath me, his breathing ragged and desperate, but I wasn't going to let him get away. Not this time. I could feel the weight of his body pressing against mine, his arms thrashing, but I kept my grip steady. Stay down. I growled, my voice barely a whisper, but it was firm, demanding. He stopped moving for a second, his eyes wide with shock. He wasn't expecting me to fight back like this. Maybe he thought I was just some biker who would run away when the going got tough, but he was wrong. I wasn't about to back down. The storm raged around us, the wind howling and the rain pounding down on both of us, but I didn't care. I could feel the anger in my chest, the adrenaline surging through me. This wasn't just about surviving anymore. This was about protecting her. The girl. I glanced over at her, just for a second, but it was enough. She was standing there, her small frame barely visible in the storm, watching me. I could see the fear in her eyes, but there was something else too. Something stronger. She wasn't just scared. She was waiting for me. I knew I couldn't keep him down forever. I needed answers. I needed to know who these people were, why they were after us. Who sent you? I demanded, my voice low, steady. The man beneath me sneered, his lips curling into a grimace. You think I'm going to tell you? He spat. You're out of your league, biker. You should have just kept running. I pressed harder with my knife, feeling the pressure build. He grunted, his eyes narrowing, but he didn't answer. I wasn't going to wait much longer. I needed him to talk. I'm not asking again. I warned, my voice calm but dangerous. I could hear the hesitation in his breath, the slight tremble in his chest. He was afraid now, but still he didn't speak. I was done playing games. I let go of his throat for just a second, grabbing his collar and lifting him up, slamming him back into the mud. I'm done wasting time. I growled, looking him straight in the eyes. The rain soaked his face, but I could see the fear now. He wasn't so tough anymore. He knew he was losing control. Who? Sent. You. I repeated, each word punctuated with a sharpness that made him wince. Finally, after what felt like an eternity, he let out a sharp breath. It's not just me, he muttered, barely above a whisper. There's more. They're coming. I didn't flinch. I was prepared for that. Who are they? I demanded again, but before he could answer, the sound of more footsteps reached my ears. Heavy boots. Several pairs. My heart skipped a beat. They were here. They were right on top of us. I stood up quickly, pulling the man to his feet with me. I didn't want to waste time, but I needed him to know I wasn't done with him. Not yet. The girl was still standing behind me, watching, her eyes wide with terror. I couldn't let them get to her. I couldn't let them hurt her. Without warning, I pushed the man forward, using him as a shield as I turned to face the direction the footsteps were coming from. It was a risky move, but I didn't have many options left. I needed to buy us some time. The man cried out, but I didn't care. He was expendable. The moment he fell in line, the group of men emerged from the trees, their figures just barely visible in the heavy rain. I counted 4 of them, all armed. The odds were against me. I could feel the weight of the situation pressing down on me, but I wasn't going to let it break me. Not now. Not when I had someone to protect. Stay behind me. I whispered to the girl, turning my head just enough to see her in the corner of my eye. She didn't move. She just nodded, her small hands clutched tightly around the blanket she had wrapped around herself. The men stopped just a few feet from us, eyeing me with disdain, but I didn't flinch. This is where you run out of options, biker, one of them said, his voice low and menacing. He took a step forward, but I didn't move. I wasn't going to give them the satisfaction. What do you want with her? I demanded, my voice hard, steady. The leader of the group grinned, the kind of grin that sent a chill down my spine. It's not about her, he said, his eyes flicking to the man I had used as a shield. It's about you. You're the one who's been making trouble. I didn't care. I wasn't going to let them intimidate me. You're not getting her, I growled. I could feel my body tense, ready to strike if I had to. The leader raised his hands, as if in mock surrender. I think you've misunderstood, he said, his grin widening. We don't need her. We need you. He motioned to the man I had captured. He's just a distraction. I didn't wait for them to make another move. I lunged forward, my knife flashing in the rain-soaked darkness, and everything erupted into chaos. User, Viet Fan 8 Theo Outline Kung 13 Fan de Viet Tren. Viet Fan 8 Voice 702 Theo Dung Motif Ma Banda Zak Din Va Bam, Sat Tai Lu Twata Training. Kong 6 Pham Chin, Sach YouTube Nu Ko Tre 6 Ton Nien Tron Ka Chien. Kong Viet Tren Canvas. Viet Fan 8 Teep Noi Fan 7 Va Kong Nak Lai Tuda. No Dong Not Nen Vat Va Boi Can. Twin Noi John Sacho Fu Hop. Traket Qua Bang Tiang On. Fu Hop Van Hoa Mai. Don 6 Du Luong Mai. CHY Van Fong KY Thuat Viet Tra Lai Ket Quada Voiceover Doc Lam. NOI, Dung Lean Mok Cho Video YouTube. Chu Kong Ko Them GHI. Chu Bien Tap, Nu Dao Dien. CHY Noi Dung Kong Duok Viet KY2 DAC Beat. Kong Duok Su Dung KY2 Asterisk. KY2 Hin Goi Sa. Kong Duok Viet Tak Kak 2. Con So Hey KY2 DC Beat Ma Tat 5 Viet R8 2 Day, Du De Voiceover AI Doc Tot Duok. Traket Qua Trong MOT Koi Van Ban Due Not. Kong Chia Don Cho Du Van Ban Tra Ra Dai Nu The Now Di Chong Nua Kung Kong Chia, Don De Tran by Hugh Lam Va Dong Nam Dao. Dat Ton Bo Koi Van Ban Trong Down Goak Vong. Viet Bang Tiang On, Fu Hop Van Hoa. Mai, Don 6 Du Luong Mai. Mbo Tun Bi Ket Qua Duok Tra Trong Mot Koi Van Ban Due Not. Kong Chia Don, Kong Them Tuda, Kong Suong Dong. Bao Ton Bo Noi Dung, Trong Down Goak Vong. Vi Du, Tioi with grave NB Noi Dung Chuin Thun, A with circumflex M, Ton Trong Mot Koi Van Ban Due Not. Kong Tra RA Code, JSON, BNet, PGSQL. Assistant. I didn't wait for them to make the first move. My knife sliced through the air, its edge flashing in the dim light as I lunged forward. The leader of the group barely had time to react before I was on him, my body crashing into his with the force of a freight train. He stumbled backward, his gun falling from his hand and into the mud. The rain was coming down even harder now, soaking through my clothes, but my focus was razor sharp. I was on top of him in seconds, pinning him down with my knees, my knife pressed against his throat. His eyes were wide with shock, his hands scrabbling at my arms, but I didn't budge. Move, and I'll slit your throat. I growled, my voice low and threatening. His breathing came in ragged gasps as he tried to look past me, his eyes flicking to the others. I knew they were waiting for an opening, but I wasn't giving them one. The guy I had tackled let out a strangled cry, his body jerking under me, but I kept my grip tight. The other 3 men were moving in, but I could hear the hesitation in their footsteps. They weren't sure if they should charge or fall back. You should have stayed out of this, I said, my voice calm despite the chaos around us. The leader's expression shifted from surprise to rage. You're making a big mistake, biker, he spat. You don't know who you're messing with. I didn't respond. I wasn't here for threats. I was here to protect the girl. That was all that mattered. The rain pounded harder, and the wind picked up, the storm masking our movements. I felt a shift in the air, a tension that made my blood run cold. It wasn't just the storm anymore. I wasn't alone in this fight. I could hear the sound of more men approaching from behind, their footsteps muffled by the downpour. I had to make this quick. I pressed harder with the knife, just enough to make him flinch. You think I'm scared of you? I sneered. The man struggled, but he was trapped. I wasn't letting him go. Tell me who you are, and I'll let you live. The leader's lips curled into a snarl. You don't get to ask questions. You're already too far in. You should have stayed out of this, biker. You don't know what's coming for you. The words sent a shiver down my spine. I wasn't just dealing with random thugs. This was bigger than I had imagined. There was something more to this. Something darker. And I was right in the middle of it. But I couldn't let the fear show. I needed him to talk. I needed him to tell me everything. Who sent you? I demanded again. The The leader's eyes flicked to the others behind me, and I could feel the tension building. They were waiting for a signal, a move to make. But I wasn't backing down. I couldn't. I felt the girl behind me, her presence like a weight, a constant reminder of why I was doing this. I couldn't let her down. Not after everything she had been through. The man's face twisted with a mix of anger and fear, and for a split second, I thought he might actually speak. But then he spat at me, his face twisted with hatred. "You're nothing," he muttered. "You're just a dead man walking." I didn't hesitate. I pressed the knife harder, the tip digging into his skin, just enough to make him wince. "Last chance," I growled. His eyes locked onto mine, and for a moment, I saw something in them, something almost like recognition. "You really have no idea who you're dealing with, do you?" he said, his voice low and threatening. "This goes beyond you. This goes beyond all of us." My grip tightened on the knife, my heart pounding. What the hell was he talking about? Before I could get another word out, a shot rang through the air. I barely had time to react as the bullet flew past me, hitting the ground near my feet with a deafening crack. My head snapped to the side, and I saw one of the other men raising a gun, his finger already on the trigger. Everything happened in an instant. The leader twisted beneath me, trying to break free, but I didn't let him. I pushed harder, driving the knife into his side, the sound of it sinking into flesh sending a wave of anger through me. He screamed, but it wasn't enough to stop the chaos. The other men were closing in now, their guns aimed at me, and I could hear the movement behind me. The girl still standing there, frozen in fear. I had no choice now. I had to move. I shoved the leader off me, standing up quickly and grabbing the girl's hand. "Run!" I shouted, pulling her with me. We didn't have time to look back. I ran as fast as I could, my heart pounding in my chest, the girl stumbling beside me. But she kept up. We were running blindly through the woods, the storm now a deafening roar around us. I didn't know where we were going, but I knew we had to keep moving. The shots rang out again, and I heard the men chasing us, but I didn't look back. I couldn't afford to. We had one shot at this. And if I was going to keep my promise to her, I wasn't going to let anyone take it away. User, Viet Fan 9 Theo Outline Kung 13 Fan de Viet Tren. Viet Fan 9 Voice 702 Theo Dung Motif Ma Banda Zak Din Va Bam, Sat Tai Lu Twata Training. Kong 6 Pham Chin, Sach YouTube Nu Ko Tre 6 Ton Nien Trong Ka Chien. Kong Viet Tren Canvas. Viet Fan 9 Teep Noi Fan 8 Va Kong Nak Lai Tuda. No Dong Not Nan Vat Va Boi Can. Twin Noi John Sa Cho Fu Hop. Traket Qua Bang Tiang On, Fu Hop Van Hoa Mai. Don 6 Du Luong Mai. CHY Van Fong KY Thuet Viet Tra Lai Ket Quada Voiceover Doc Lam. NOI, Dung Lean Mok Cho Video YouTube. Chu Kong Ko Them GHI. Chu Bien Tap, Nu Dao Dien. CHY Noi Dung Kong Duok Viet KY2 DAC Beat. Kong Duok Su Dung KY2 Asterisk. KY2 Ngoi Sa. Kong Duok Viet Tat Kak 2. Con So Hey KY2 DC Beat Ma Tat 5 Viet RA 2 Day, Du De Voiceover AI Doc Tot Duok. Traket Qua Trong Mot Koi Van Ban Due Not. Kong Chia Don Cho. Du Van Ban Tra Ra Di Nu The Now Di Chong Nua Kung Kong Chia Don De Tran by Hu Lam Va Dong Nam Dao. Dat Ton Bo Koi Van Ban Trong Down Goak Vong. Viet Bang Tiang On, Fu Hop Van Hoa Mai. Don 6 Du Luong Mai. Mbio Tun Bi Ket Qua Duok Tra Trong Mot Koi Van Ban Due Not. Kong Chia Don, Kong Them Tuda, Kong Suong Dong. Bao Ton Bo Noi Dung, Trong Down Goak Vong. Vi Du. Tioi with grave NB NOI Dung Chuin Thun, e with circumflex M, Ton Trong Mot Koi Van Ban Due Not. Kong Tra RA Code, JSON, BNet, PGSQL. Assistant. I kept pulling her through the rain-soaked forest, my lungs burning with each breath as we ran. The sound of footsteps behind us echoed through the trees, but I refused to look back. I knew they were gaining on us, but I couldn't afford to stop. Not yet. The girl's small hand gripped mine, her fingers cold and trembling. But she kept up, matching my pace as best as she could. I could hear her shallow breaths, but I didn't dare slow down. We had to get further into the woods, somewhere they wouldn't expect us to go. The trees around us were thick, the path barely visible in the storm. The wind whipped through the branches, the sound of the rain pounding on the leaves almost deafening, but it gave me some cover. I hoped it was enough. I could feel the pressure of their pursuit, like a weight pressing down on my shoulders. I couldn't let them catch us. I couldn't let her get hurt. We pushed through the underbrush, the mud sucking at our boots, but we didn't stop. Every now and then, I would glance over my shoulder, but all I could see were the shadows of trees and the blinding rain. The storm was too thick to make out anything clearly. I didn't know how much longer we could keep running. The adrenaline was wearing off, and my muscles were starting to scream. The girl, however, was still with me, her breath quick but steady. I couldn't let myself falter. "We're almost there," I said, my voice hoarse as I tried to reassure her. I wasn't sure if I was lying to her or myself, but I had to believe it. "Just a little further. A little more." I pushed forward, feeling the weight of every step. After what seemed like an eternity, I spotted it. A break in the trees, the silhouette of a building up ahead. It was the hunting lodge. I knew we were close, but the sound of footsteps behind us was getting louder. They were right there, almost within reach. "Keep running," I shouted, pulling her forward. She stumbled, her foot catching on a root, but I didn't let go. "Come on," I urged her, not daring to slow down, not even for a second. She caught her footing, and we kept moving, the lodge growing closer and closer. I could hear the shouts of the men behind us now, their voices cutting through the storm. "There they are," one of them yelled. That was all I needed to hear. We were running out of time. We hit the clearing, the outline of the lodge now visible through the rain. I didn't slow down. The door was locked, but I didn't care. I slammed my shoulder into it, the force of the impact making the door groan, but it didn't give way. I cursed under my breath. "Come on," I muttered, pulling at the handle, but the door wouldn't budge. The sound of the men's footsteps was closer now, and I knew we didn't have much time. Without thinking, I spun around, pushing the girl behind me as I drew my knife. I wasn't going to let them take her. Not without a fight. The first man came charging out of the trees, a gun raised, but I was ready. I didn't hesitate. I lunged at him, knocking the gun from his hands, and in one swift motion, I slashed at his arm. He howled in pain, stumbling back, but I didn't stop. The others were right behind him, but I wasn't about to let them get to us. I grabbed a nearby rock, hurling it at one of the other men, hitting him square in the chest. He fell back, momentarily stunned, but it was enough to buy me a few precious seconds. I turned back to the girl, grabbing her hand and pulling her toward the side of the building. We couldn't stay out in the open. We had to find another way in. The rain was coming down so hard now that I could barely see. The sound of my own breathing was the only thing I could hear. I could feel the girl's hand shaking in mine, but she was still with me. I couldn't let her go. We rounded the corner of the lodge, and I found what I was looking for, a small window near the back. It was barely big enough for me to fit through, but I wasn't going to leave it to chance. I turned to the girl. "Stay here," I whispered, my voice urgent. She nodded, her face pale but determined. I didn't have time to explain. I pulled the knife from my belt and used it to pry the window open. It was a tight fit, but I squeezed through, landing silently on the other side. I motioned for the girl to follow, and she climbed up next to me. We were in. The inside of the lodge was dark, but I didn't care. We had a moment. We had a chance. I could hear the men outside, their shouts getting closer, but for now, we were safe. I closed the window behind us, and we crouched low, listening for any sign of movement. The girl was still trembling, but I could see the resolve in her eyes now. She wasn't just a scared little girl anymore. She was part of this fight too. I reached out, gently squeezing her hand. "We're okay," I said, trying to sound more confident than I felt. But the truth was, I didn't know how long we would stay safe. We didn't know who else was out there. I couldn't let myself think about that now. For the moment, we had a chance to breathe. I had to make it count. User, Viet Fan 10 Theo Outline Kung 13 Fan de Viet Tren. Viet Fan 10 Voice 702 Theo Dung Motif Ma Banda Zak Din Va Bam, Sat Tai Lu Twata Training. Kong 6 Pham Chin, Sach YouTube Nu Ko Tre 6 Ton Nien Tron Ka Chien. Kong Viet Tren Canvas. Viet Fan 10 Teep Noi Fan 9 Va Kong Nak Lai Tuda. No Dong Not Nan Vat Va Boi Can. Twin Loi John Sa Cho Fu Hop. Traket Qua Bang Tiang On, Fu Hop Van Hoa Mai. Don 6 Du Luong Mai. Chy Van Fong Ky Thuat Viet Tra Lai Ket Qua De Voiceover Doc Lam. Noi Dung Lean Mok Cho Video YouTube. Chu Kong Ko Them Ghi. Chu Bien Tap, Nu Dao Dien. Chy Noi Dung Kong Duok Viet KY2 DAC Beat. Kong Duok Su Dung KY2 Asterisk. KY2 Hin Goi Sa. Kong duok viet tak kak tu. Con so hey ky tuk dc beat ma tat 5 viet ra 2 day due to voiceover AI doc tot duok. Traket qua trong mot koi van ban duwe not. Kong chia don cho du van ban traare di nu the now di chong nua kung kong chia don de tran by hu lam va dong nam dao. Dat ton bo koi van ban trong down goak vong. Viet bang tiang on, fu hop van hoamai. Don 6 du luong mai. Mbio tun bi ket qua duok tra trong mot koi van ban duwe not. Kong chia don, kong them tuda, kong suong dong. Bao ton bo noi dung, trong down goak vong. Vi du, tioi with grave nb noi dung chuin thun, et with circumflexem ton trong mot koi van ban duwe not. Kong tra ra code, JSON, bnet, pgsql. Assistant. I kept my eyes on the small window as the rain lashed against the glass. The storm outside seemed to intensify by the minute, but inside the hunting lodge, there was an eerie quiet. The girl was huddled next to me, her small frame shivering slightly despite the warmth of the cabin. I could hear her breathing, shallow and quick, as if she was still waiting for the storm to catch up with us. I tried to calm my own nerves, but it wasn't easy. The adrenaline was still coursing through me, making my hands shake, but I couldn't let it show. I needed to stay focused. I needed to make sure we were safe. The men outside were still out there. I had no doubt they were regrouping, planning their next move. But I wasn't about to sit here and wait for them to come back. We couldn't stay in this cabin forever. We needed to move again, find a better place to hide, or at least get ourselves a step ahead of them. But I knew that wasn't going to be easy. The storm had made the woods nearly impossible to navigate, and with the men out there hunting us, every step was a risk. I glanced over at the girl, her eyes wide, but she wasn't crying anymore. She was staring at me, her gaze full of questions, but I didn't have any answers. We're safe for now, I said, trying to reassure her, though my voice betrayed the doubt I felt. She nodded, though I could tell she didn't believe me. I didn't blame her. I didn't believe it myself. The only thing I knew for sure was that we weren't out of the woods yet, and we had no idea how long we could keep running. I stood up, moving quietly across the cabin. My boots creaked on the old floorboards, but the noise was drowned out by the storm outside. I checked the window again, peering through the rain-soaked glass, but all I saw was darkness. The men were still out there, but I couldn't tell where. I turned back to the girl, who was still sitting on the floor, hugging her knees to her chest. Stay here, I said, trying to keep my voice as calm as possible. I'm going to check the perimeter, see if it's safe to leave. She nodded, not saying anything, just watching me with those big, trusting eyes. It felt like a weight on my chest, but I didn't have time to dwell on it. I had to keep her safe. I moved quietly to the back door of the cabin, pausing for a moment to listen. The wind howled, the rain pounding on the roof, but other than that, there was nothing. No sounds of movement. No sign of anyone nearby. I opened the door slowly, peeking out into the rain. The night was pitch black, but I could make out the faint outline of trees through the storm. The wind was so strong it felt like it might knock me over, but I pushed forward, stepping out into the mud. The wet earth sucked at my boots, and I had to focus on each step to keep from slipping. I moved quickly, keeping close to the cabin's walls, my eyes constantly scanning the woods. There was no sign of the men, but I knew better than to assume we were safe. They were out there, somewhere, and they wouldn't stop until they found us. I reached the corner of the cabin and froze. A faint sound, a crack of a twig, reached my ears. I held my breath, my heart pounding in my chest. The sound was faint, but unmistakable. Someone was out there. I stayed low, moving silently to the back of the cabin, my hand on the knife at my side. I crouched behind a pile of logs, trying to steady my breathing. The rain was so loud it almost drowned out the sound of footsteps, but I could hear them now. Slow, deliberate steps, moving closer. I waited, my muscles coiled, ready to strike if I needed to. The footsteps stopped just a few feet from where I was hiding, and I could hear the faintest whisper of voices. I strained to listen, but the wind and rain made it almost impossible to catch the words. I pressed myself closer to the ground, trying to stay as still as possible. I wasn't sure if they saw me yet, but I wasn't taking any chances. I reached for the knife, my grip tight as I prepared for the worst. The footsteps moved again, slowly retreating. Whoever they were, they didn't know I was here. Not yet. but I knew they wouldn't leave without looking around. I had to move fast. I waited a few moments, watching the shadows, before I slowly rose to my feet. I had to get back inside. The girl was still waiting for me, and we couldn't afford to wait any longer. I made my way back to the cabin, my steps quiet but fast. As I reached the door, I looked back once more, but there was nothing. The men had moved on. For now, I stepped inside, closing the door behind me softly. The girl was still sitting in the same spot, looking up at me with a mixture of fear and hope. I didn't have time to explain. "We need to leave," I said quickly, my voice urgent. She nodded without hesitation, standing up and grabbing my hand. We didn't have much time. We couldn't stay here, not with them still out there, hunting us. "Come on," I said, my heart racing. "Let's go." We moved quickly, quietly, back into the storm. I didn't know where we were headed next, but I knew we had to keep moving. We had no choice. User, Viet Fan 11 Theo Outline Kung 13, Fan de Viet Tren. Viet Fan 11 Voice 702 Theo, Dung Motif Ma Ban. The Zach Din Va Bam Sat Tai Lu Twata Training. Kong 6 Pham Chin Sach YouTube Nu Ko Tre 6 Ton Nien Trong Ka Chien. Kong Viet Tren Canvas. Viet Fan 11 Teep Noi Fan 10 Va Kong Nak Lai Tuda. No Dong Not Nen Vat Va Boi Can. Twin Noi John Sa Cho Fu Hop. Traket Qua Bang Tiang On. Fu Hop Van Hoa Mai. Don 6 Du Luong Mai. CHY Van Fong KY Thuat Viet Tra Lai Ket Qua De Voiceover Doc Lam. NOI, Dung Lean Mok Cho Video YouTube. Chu Kong Ko Them GHI. Chu Bien Tap, Nu Dao Dying. CHY Noi Dung Kong Duok Viet KY2 DAC Beat. Kong Duok Su Dung KY2 Asterisk. KY2 Hin Goi Sa. Kong Duok Viet Tak Kak 2. Con So Hey KY2 DC Beat Matat 5 Viet R8 2 Day, Du De Voiceover AI Doc Tot Duok. Traket Qua Trong MOT Koi Van Ban Duay Not. Kong Chia Don Cho Du Van Ban Tra Ra Dai Nu The Now Di Chong Nua Kung Kong Chia, Don De Tran by Hugh Lam Va Dong Nam Dao. Dat Ton Bo Koi Van Ban Trong Down Goak Vong. Viet Bang Tiang On, Fu Hop Van Hoa Mai. Don 6 Du Luong Mai. Mbio Tun Bi Ket Qua Duok Tra Trong Mot Koi Van Ban Duay Not. Kong Chia Don, Kong Them Tuda, Kong Suong Dong. Bao Ton Bo Noi Dung, Trong Down Goak Vong. Vi Du, Tioi with grave NB Noi Dung Chuin Thun, E with circumflexem Ton Trong Mot Koi Van Ban Duay Not. Kong Tra RA Code, JSON, BNet, PGSQL. Assistant. I kept my pace steady, my hand gripping the girls as we made our way through the storm. The rain had turned the ground into a slippery mess, and I had to keep my footing while also ensuring she didn't fall behind. I could feel her small hand trembling in mine, but she kept moving, staying close as we trudged through the thick woods. I didn't know where we were going, but I knew we couldn't stay still. Every step we took, I could hear the thunder rumbling in the distance, and with it came the feeling of urgency. The men were still out there, and every moment we wasted could be the moment they caught up to us. I glanced back over my shoulder, making sure no one was following too closely. The woods were dense, and the storm was making it hard to see much beyond a few feet, but I could hear the distant crunch of footsteps, too far off to be sure, but close enough to make my nerves flare. I wasn't ready to stop yet. I couldn't be. As we continued to push forward, I spotted a break in the trees, a small clearing ahead. It wasn't much, but it was a chance to pause and reassess. I slowed down, turning to the girl. "We need to rest for a second," I said, my voice barely audible over the roar of the storm. She looked up at me, her face pale but determined. She didn't argue, just nodded, and we both made our way into the clearing, though I kept my eyes on the trees around us. We crouched low to the ground, taking shelter beneath the heavy branches of a large oak tree. The rain was coming down harder now, the wind cutting through the woods like a knife. The storm wasn't going to give up anytime soon. I could feel the weight of the moment settle on me. We were out of options. The hunting lodge was behind us, but the men would be back soon enough, and we couldn't risk being trapped out in the open. I looked down at the girl, her face full of fear and exhaustion. "Hey, are you okay?" I asked, trying to keep my voice calm. She looked up at me, her eyes wide with worry, but she nodded. "I'm fine," she whispered. "What about you?" The question caught me off guard. It wasn't something I had thought about. I was so focused on getting her to safety, on keeping her safe, that I hadn't stopped to think about how much of a toll this was taking on me. But she was right to ask. I was exhausted. My muscles ached, and my mind was running on fumes. I hadn't had a moment to process everything that had happened, everything that was still to come. I shook my head, not wanting to burden her with my worries. "I'll be fine," I said, though I wasn't entirely sure if I believed it. The girl didn't say anything, but I saw the way she was looking at me, like she could see right through the tough exterior I was trying to put up. I wasn't fooling anyone. I couldn't even fool myself. The weight of this whole situation was starting to sink in. We were in way deeper than I had realized. The men who had been chasing us weren't just after me. They were after her, and I didn't know why. I didn't know who they were, what they wanted, or how much danger we were really in. I couldn't let my mind wander too far down that path. Not yet. I had to stay focused. We needed to keep moving. I stood up slowly, my body protesting with every movement. I held out my hand to the girl, and after a moment, she took it. "Come on," I said, my voice firm. "We can't stay here long. We need to get further into the woods, find another place to hide." The girl nodded, still clinging to my side as we moved forward. The storm was relentless, but it felt like the least of my worries. With each step, I could feel the weight of everything pressing in on me. But I couldn't stop. Not yet. We had to keep moving. I led the way through the trees, my senses heightened as I scanned the dark, rain-soaked landscape around us. The night was silent except for the sound of the storm, but I knew that silence wouldn't last forever. We couldn't run forever. I needed to figure out where to go next. As we walked, I caught a glimpse of something in the distance. A light. It was faint, but it was there. A small flicker of hope in the middle of the chaos. I pointed to the light, my heart beating faster. "Do you see that?" I whispered. The girl nodded, her eyes following my finger. "What is it?" she asked, her voice soft but full of curiosity. I couldn't be sure, but it looked like a cabin or a house, maybe a place where we could find shelter. It was a long shot, but it was the only option we had. "Let's go check it out," I said, taking her hand again and moving toward the light. We moved cautiously, keeping low, but the closer we got, the more I could feel my hope rising. This could be it. This could be the safe place we needed. But even as I thought that, I knew it wasn't over. We weren't out of danger yet. I could still hear the distant sound of footsteps behind us, too far off to be sure, but close enough to keep my pulse racing. I wasn't going to stop. Not now. Not when we were this close. The light grew brighter as we approached, and I could see the outline of a cabin now, tucked away behind a thicket of trees. It looked abandoned, but it was our best shot. We made it to the door, and I hesitated for a moment before pushing it open. The interior was dark, but there was a faint smell of wood and dust. It was quiet. Too quiet. I stepped inside, the girl close behind me, and shut the door softly. We had made it. For now. But I knew this wasn't the end. This was just another beginning. User, Viet Fan 12 Theo Outline Kung 13 Fan de Viet Tren. Viet Fan 12 Voice 702 Theo Dung Motif Ma Banda Zak Din Va Bam, Sat Tai Lu Twata Training. Kong 6 Pham Chin, Sach YouTube Nu Ko Tre 6 Ton Nien Tron Ka Chien. Kong Viet Tren Canvas. Viet Fan 12 Teep Noi Fan 11 Va Kong Nak Lai Tuda. No Dong Not Nan Vat Va Boi Can. Twin Loi John Sa Cho Fu Hop. Traket Qua Bang Tiang On, Fu Hop Van Hoa Mai. Don 6 Du Luong Mai. CHY Van Fong KY Thuat Viet Tra Lai Ket Quada Voiceover Doc Lam. NOI, Dung Lean Mok Cho Video YouTube, Chu Kong Ko Them GHI, Chu Bien Tap, Nu Dao Dying. CHY Noi Dung Kong Duok Viet KY2 DAC Beat, Kong Duok Su Dung KY2 Asterisk, KY2 Hin Goi Sa. Kong Duok Viet Tat Kak 2. Con So Hey KY2 DC Beat Matat 5 Viet R8 2 Day, due to Voiceover AI Doc Tot Duok. Traket Qua Trong Mot Koi Van Ban Due Not. Kong Chia Don Cho Du Van Ban Traare Di Nu The Now Di Chong Nua Kung Kong Chia, Don De Tran by Hugh Lam Va Dong Nam Dao. Dat Ton Bo Koi Van Ban Trong Down Goak Vong. Viet Bang Tiang On, Fu Hop Van Hoa Mai, Don 6. Du Luong Mai. Mbo Tun Bi Ket Qua Duok Tra Trong Mot Koi Van Ban Due Not. Kong Chia Don, Kong Them Tuda, Kong Suong Dong. Bao Ton Bo Noi Dung, Trong Down Goak Vong. Vi Du, Tioi with grave NB Noi Dung Chuin Thun, A with circumflex M, Ton Trong Mot Koi Van Ban Due Not. Kong Tra RA Code, JSON, BNet, PGSQL. Assistant, I stepped into the dark, quiet cabin, the door creaking softly as I closed it behind us. The girl, still trembling, stayed close by my side, her small hand clutching mine. The air inside smelled stale, but it was better than being out in the storm. I scanned the interior, bare, with only a few pieces of old furniture scattered about. There was a faint smell of wood and dust, like it hadn't been lived in for years. It was the kind of place that felt abandoned, forgotten, but at that moment, it was our safe haven. For now, the storm outside was still raging, the wind howling against the walls and rain beating down like a drum. But inside, the silence was oppressive, heavy, as if the cabin itself was holding its breath. I could hear my own heartbeat in the quiet, the sound of my pulse thundering in my ears as I took in our surroundings. The girl was looking around, her wide eyes taking in every detail, but she didn't speak. She didn't need to. I could feel the fear and the exhaustion in the air, and I knew we both needed rest. But there was no time to relax. The men chasing us weren't going to give up. They were still out there, hunting us. They could be just around the corner, waiting for us to let our guard down. I motioned for the girl to sit down on one of the old chairs near the fireplace. It wasn't much, but it would have to do. We both needed to regroup, but I couldn't shake the feeling that we were still in danger. I stepped over to the window, glancing outside through the rain-splattered glass. The storm made it almost impossible to see much, but I thought I caught a glimpse of movement in the distance. My breath caught in my throat as I stared out into the dark. Was it them? I couldn't be sure. It was too far away to make out anything clearly, but I wasn't about to take chances. I turned back to the girl, still sitting silently, her hands folded tightly in her lap. "Stay here," I said, my voice as steady as I could make it. "Don't move. I need to check the perimeter." She nodded, though I could see the uncertainty in her eyes. She wanted to help, but she was too young to understand the full weight of what was happening. She didn't need to. I had made a promise to protect her, and I wasn't about to break it now. I walked to the door, my hand brushing against the knife at my side, ready for whatever came next. As I reached for the handle, I paused, listening carefully. The wind howled outside, but the storm seemed to cover up any sounds that might have been approaching. I opened the door slowly, stepping out into the rain, my boots sinking into the muddy ground. I had to stay low, blending in with the darkness as much as I could. The cabin was nestled deep in the woods, hidden from the main path, but I wasn't sure how much time we had. I couldn't stay out here for long. The rain made it difficult to see anything, but I kept my eyes sharp, scanning the tree-line. I moved quietly, knowing that every step brought me closer to the edge. I was doing this for her, but I also knew that every moment I spent out here in the open brought us one step closer to danger. I had to keep moving, keep checking, but there was still a sense of urgency gnawing at me. I didn't know how many more of them there were, but I had seen enough to know they wouldn't hesitate to come after us. I made my way around the cabin, my eyes darting around every corner. Nothing. No signs of movement. No sounds other than the storm. I breathed a sigh of relief, but I knew it was temporary. They could be just beyond the trees, waiting for me to slip up. I couldn't let my guard down. I turned to head back inside, but something caught my eye. A flash of light in the distance. My heart skipped a beat. Could it be a flashlight? Someone else out here? Or worse, was it them, signaling each other? I froze, my heart racing. I couldn't afford to take risks. I needed to be sure. Slowly, I crouched down, moving silently back to the edge of the clearing. I couldn't be seen. I couldn't let them know I was here. I waited, my breath shallow, as the seconds stretched on. The light was still there, flickering in the distance, but it wasn't moving. I couldn't make sense of it. Was it a person? Or was it something else? I didn't have time to figure it out. The girl was still inside, and I needed to make sure she was safe. I turned back toward the cabin, my muscles tense, ready for anything. The rain had stopped for a moment, the quiet thick in the air. I stepped back inside the cabin, shutting the door quietly behind me. The girl was still sitting where I left her, her eyes following me as I entered. She didn't say anything, but I could see the worry in her expression. "Everything's fine," I said, though I wasn't entirely sure of that myself. "We just need to stay quiet and keep low for a while." She nodded, her small body stiff with fear, but she didn't question me. I looked around the cabin, the shadows creeping in as the storm finally slowed down. We were still trapped, still hunted, but for now, we were safe. I had to believe that. I just had to hold on to the hope that we would make it through this. We had to. For her. User, Viet Fan 13 Ket, Tuk Theo Outline Kung 13, Fan de Viet Tren. Viet Fan 13 Voice 702 Theo Dung Motif Ma Banda Zak Din Va Bam, Sat Tai Lu Twata Training. Kong 6 Pham Chin, Sach YouTube Nu Ko Tre 6 Ton Nien Tron Ka Chien. Kong Viet Tren Canvas. Viet Fan 13 Teep Noi Fan 12 Va Kong Nak Lai Tuda. No Dong Not Nan Vat Va Boi Can. Twin Noi John Sa Cho Fu Hop. Traket Qua Bang Tiang On, Fu Hop Van Hoa Mai, Don 6 Du Luong Mai, CHY Van Fong KY Thuat Viet Tra Lai Ket Qua De Voiceover Doc Lam, NOI, Dung Lean Mok Cho Video YouTube, Chu Kong Ko Them GHI, Chu Bien Tap, Nu Dao Dying. CHY Noi Dung Kong Duok Viet KY2 DAC Beat, Kong Duok Su Dung. KY2 Asterisk, KY2 Hin Goi Sa, Kong Duok Viet Tak Kak 2. Con So Hey KY2 DC Beat Matat 5 Viet RA 2 Day, Du De Voiceover AI Doc Tot Duok. Traket Qua Trong MOT Koi Van Ban Due Not. Kong Chia Don Cho Du Van Ban Tra Ra Di Nu The Now Di Chong Nua Kung Kong Chia, Don De Tran by Hugh Lam Va Dong Nam Dao. Dat Ton Bo Koi Van Ban Trong Down Goak Vong. Viet Bang Tiang On, Fu Hop Van Hoa Mai, Don 6 Du Luong Mai. Mbio Tun Bi Ket Qua Duok Tra Trong Mot Koi Van Ban Due Not. Kong Chia Don, Kong Them Tuda, Kong Suong Dong. Bao Ton Bo Noi Dung, Trong Down Goak Vong. Vi Du, Tioi with Grave NB Noi Dung Chuin Thun, E with Circumflex M Ton Trong Mot Koi Van Ban Due Not. Kong Tra RA Code, JSON, BNet, PGSQL. Assistant. I kept my back to the door, listening intently to the sound of the wind and rain outside. The storm had calmed a bit, but the air still felt thick, charged with tension. I could feel it in my bones, the creeping feeling that something was about to happen, that we couldn't hide here much longer. The girl sat quietly beside the small fire that I had managed to light, the flickering light casting strange shadows across her face. She hadn't said much since we'd come inside, just looking around as if trying to absorb everything. Her wide eyes, the fear still visible in them, were a constant reminder of how much I had to protect her. I moved around the cabin, my steps quiet but purposeful. I had checked the windows, and the door was locked, but I didn't feel safe. Not yet. The men who were after us, who were after her, were still out there, and I knew they would keep coming. I couldn't let my guard down. I turned back to the girl, seeing the exhaustion in her face, the weight of everything she had been through settling in. I couldn't even begin to imagine what it must have been like for her, what she had seen, what she had lost. She was just a kid, and yet here she was, running for her life with me. My throat tightened as I looked at her. "Hey, you okay?" I asked, my voice softer than usual. She nodded slowly but didn't speak. I could see the fear still in her eyes, but there was something else too, something stronger. She was trying to be brave. She was trying to survive. That made two of us. I didn't want to talk about the things we had left behind, the things I couldn't protect her from. I didn't want to say that we were still being hunted, that they were still out there. I wanted to give her hope, some kind of belief that we were going to make it. But inside, I wasn't sure. The minutes felt like hours, and each sound outside made me tense. I kept checking the door, the window, trying to tell myself that we were safe here, but the nagging feeling wouldn't leave me. Finally, I couldn't stand the silence anymore. "We need to keep moving," I said, my voice steady despite the uncertainty gnawing at me. The girl looked up at me, her face pale, but she nodded. She knew, just as I did, that we couldn't stay in one place for too long. We weren't safe yet. I walked over to her, holding out my hand. She took it without hesitation, her grip small but firm. We couldn't let them catch us, not after everything we had been through. We had to keep running. There was no choice. I led her to the back door, pushing it open just a crack to peek outside. The storm was still heavy, but the rain had let up a bit. The woods stretched out in front of us, dark and endless, but I knew we couldn't stay here. We had to go further into the forest, away from any trails that could lead them to us. "Stay close," I told her, and she nodded. I stepped outside, and she followed, the rain hitting my face like ice. It was cold, but it didn't matter. I had one goal now, keep moving. Every step felt like a battle, but I didn't stop. I couldn't. The girl stayed close, keeping pace with me as we moved deeper into the woods. The trees were thick, and the ground beneath us was soft and muddy, but I barely noticed. My mind was too focused on the danger still lurking behind us. I kept my eyes on the path ahead, but every so often, I would glance back. I was sure they were still out there. We couldn't afford to stop. Not until we were far enough away. I didn't know how much time had passed or how far we had gone, but when I finally slowed down, I realized we were in the middle of the woods. There was no cabin, no house in sight, just trees and the quiet hum of the storm. I glanced over at the girl, who was still beside me, her small face tired but determined. We had made it this far. We couldn't stop now. I looked around, trying to find some shelter, but all I saw were the trees, the same endless stretch of wilderness. My heart sank a little. This wasn't a safe place. Not yet. But I wasn't going to give up. Not while she was with me. We need to keep going, I said, my voice firm. The girl nodded, though I could see how tired she was. We both were. But we couldn't stop. Not yet. I pulled her gently by the hand, moving deeper into the woods, my senses on high alert. I could still feel the pressure of the hunt, the knowledge that someone was still out there, closing in. It made every sound, every crack of a branch, feel like a threat. But we had no choice but to keep moving. After what felt like hours, I finally spotted something ahead. Another cabin, hidden in the trees, barely visible through the thick branches. My heart leapt in my chest. It was a long shot, but it was the best chance we had. Over there, I whispered, pointing ahead. The girl looked up at me, her eyes full of hope. We moved quickly, heading toward the shelter. I wasn't sure if it was safe, but I had to believe it was. When we finally reached the cabin, I pushed open the door and stepped inside. It was small but sturdy, a place that felt like it had been abandoned for years. But it was enough. I closed the door behind us and locked it, feeling a sense of relief I hadn't felt in a long time. We were safe for now, but I knew this was just the beginning. The danger wasn't over, and there were still so many unknowns. But we had made it this far, and I wasn't going to let it end here. Not now. Not while she was with me. I turned to the girl, who was standing silently in the corner, her eyes wide but filled with something stronger than fear now. "We'll be okay," I said, my voice soft but steady. "We'll make it through." And somehow, for the first time in a long while, I actually believed it. User. Viet cho toi mo ta chuan seo voi ton bo by Viet vua Viet Tren, va zut hiens dung 5 lon tu qua chin, Hell Angel Stories, Trong Emota. Kong Ko Gi Thu De La 13 Fan. Van Teep Tuc Viet Bang Tiang On. Chy Noi Dung Kong Duok Viet KY2 DAC Beat. Kong Duok Su Dung KY2 Asterisk. KY2 Hin Goi Sa. Kong Duok Dan Dao Tu Qua Chin. Ni Dung Ding Chuan Thun A with circumflex M Ton Viet Ton 1 Don Kong Song Dong Vada Noi Dung Trong Cap, Down Goak Vong. Vidu Noi Dung Chuan Thun A with circumflex M Ton. Kong Tra RA Code, JSON, BNet, PGSQL, 27. Ni Dung Viet Ton 1 Don Kong Suong Dong Vada Noi Dung Trong Cap, Down Goak Vong. Vidu Noi Dung Tiu. Kong Tra RA Code, JSON, BNet, PGSQL. Tat Ca Viet Bang Tiang On. Assistant. In this gripping story of survival and courage, follow a Hells Angels biker who finds himself on a dangerous journey to protect a young girl from an unknown threat. As they are pursued through the stormy woods, their bond strengthens, and they fight to stay one step ahead of those determined to catch them. This tale, filled with suspense and emotional depth, shows the true meaning of loyalty and protection. Throughout their journey, the biker must face his past and confront his deepest fears while ensuring the girl's safety. As the storm rages on, they find an abandoned cabin to hide in, but their troubles are far from over. The men hunting them are relentless, and every step they take feels like a countdown to disaster. In the end, it's not just the biker's strength that saves them. It's his willingness to protect the innocent, no matter the cost. This is one of the many unforgettable Hell Angels stories where danger, fear, and redemption collide in the most unexpected ways. If you love intense, emotional stories about survival and courage, you won't want to miss this Hell Angels story. The journey is filled with twists and turns that will leave you on the edge of your seat. As the biker faces unimaginable challenges, he discovers the true power of trust and determination in the face of adversity. Experience this epic tale, where Hell Angels stories prove that even the darkest paths can lead to light. Whether you're a fan of action-packed adventures or emotional roller coasters, this Hell Angels story will captivate you from start to finish. User, Tra Loi Tung Ka Hoi Sao Day. Kim Tra Lai La Trong 13 Fan Tren Ko Fan Now Ban Chua Viet Va Chua Gue Cho Tua Kong. Kim Tra Lai Zem Trong 13 Fan Ko Fan Now Ban Gue by Trung Jong Now Kong. Kim Tra Lai Zem Tone Bo Noi Dung Qua 13 Fan Ko Tin Dong Not Valin Ket Mok Trian Trong Kung Mot Ka Chien Kong. Kim Tra Lai Zem Tone Bo 13 Fan Ka Chien Noi Dung Ko Dung Fu Hop Voi Tuda Ban Dalmatwada Gue Kong. Chi Kan Tra La Si Hoke K Chenji Fu Hop Cho Tung Ka Hoi. Assistant 1. Kim Tra Lai La Trong 13 Fan Tren Ko Fan Now Ban Chua Viet Va Chua Gue Cho Tua Kong. K Chenji 2. Kim Tra Lai Zem Trong 13 Fan Ko Fan Now Ban Gue by Trung Jong Now Kong. K Chenji 3. Kim Tra Lai Zem Tone Bo Noi Dung Qua 13 Fan Ko Tin Dong Not Valin Ket Mok Trian Trong Kung Mot Ka Chien Kong. C4. Kim Tra Lai Zem Tone Bo 13 Fan Ka Chien Noi Dung Ko Dung Fu Hop Voi Tuda Ban Dalmatwada Gue Kong. C.